What is happening right now is shocking. Some scientists are finding evidence that could completely change our perception of the universe and its origin. Today we will talk about a topic that has generated debates for centuries. Does God exist? For us believers, the answer is clear. But what if science itself confirmed what we know by our faith? What you're going to hear will be very revealing, especially if you thought science and faith couldn't coexist. Start. To understand the depth of recent discoveries that have led some scientists to reconsider the idea of a creator, we must start with a basic concept, but the principle of causality. This principle states that every effect has a cause, that is, that nothing happens without there being a reason or an origin behind it. This concept has not only been essential to the development of the natural sciences, but it also helps us understand deeper questions about the existence of the universe and our place in it. From the point of view of science, the principle of causality has allowed great advances. Thanks to it, scientists have been able to study how the laws of physics work, how galaxies form, and how life develops. However, this principle also opens the door to broader reflections. If every effect has a cause, what or who is the cause of everything that exists? This is where the principle of causality connects with theology and philosophy. This principle not only explains the order of the universe, but also points toward the idea of an intelligent creator, someone who designed everything with purpose and coherence. In Christian theology, God is identified as the first cause or the immovable mover, a concept developed by the philosopher and theologian St. Thomas Aquinas in his work Summa Theologica. According to this idea, everything that exists has a cause. If we continue to trace this chain of causes, we inevitably come to a point where there must be something that was not caused by anything else, an eternal, independent cause that gave rise to everything else. And that cause, according to Aquinas, is God. This reasoning is not unique to religion. Even within philosophy, thinkers from different eras have explored the idea that the universe, with all its order and precision, cannot simply be the product of chance. Science itself, in seeking answers about the origin of the universe, faces a limit where questions become philosophical. If the universe has a beginning, what caused it? If the laws of physics are so perfect, who established them? The universe seems to be designed with incredible precision. From the physical constants that enable life to the way matter and energy interact, everything points to a system that is, to say the least, extraordinarily improbable if it were the result of simple coincidences. This leads us to a reflection that we will explore later. What scientific evidence is there that reinforces the idea that behind this precise design there is a creative intelligence? When we reflect on the relationship between the universe and God, it is essential to begin with a clear definition. Broadly speaking, God is understood as a supreme being, the creator and origin of all that exists. This concept is not necessarily linked to organized religions. Even ideas like pantheism see God as a manifestation of the entire universe, an omnipresent presence in every part of creation. One of the most common philosophical questions is who created God? This questioning, although logical from our human perspective, is based on a mistake to assume that the laws of the universe, such as time, space, and causality, apply beyond the universe itself. If God is considered the creator of the universe, it would stand to reason that he is outside of space and time, not limited by the constraints of the Big Bang or the physical laws that govern our reality. In this vision, God is eternal, without a beginning or an end, existing beyond human notions of time and space. It is important to remember that categories such as before or after lose meaning outside the universe, since time itself began with the Big Bang. The Big Bang, which is the most widely accepted theory about the origin of the universe, was not an explosion as is often imagined, but a rapid expansion from a state of extremely high density and temperature. This idea was put forward by Georges Lemaitre, a devout Catholic priest and astrophysicist, who described this event as the primordial atom or the beginning of the observable universe. Lemaitre himself saw the Big Bang as compatible with his faith in a creator, considering the expansion of the universe as a manifestation of God's work. This perspective leads us to a further reflection on the universe, with all its perfect laws, its complexity, and its order, seems to be the result of something greater than itself. If the Big Bang marks the beginning of everything we know, what or who started it? For many, the answer lies in an eternal creator who transcends our comprehension, a being who does not need to be created because he is the source of all creation. The fact that science describes the Big Bang as the beginning of the universe does not conflict with the idea of a creator. Rather, the two approaches address different aspects of the same reality, and this is supported by remembering that Georges Lemaitre himself, the father of the Big Bang theory, was a Catholic priest who saw in this theory a compatibility with his faith. For him, the expansion of the universe was not an obstacle to belief in God, but a confirmation that the universe had a beginning designed by a transcendent mind. Science is an incredibly powerful tool for understanding the world around us. It is based on observation, analysis, and experimentation to build reliable knowledge about natural phenomena. But like any tool, it has its limitations, many of which stem from human nature and our perception of the universe. Science is defined as a set of knowledge obtained through analysis and observation. This means that it is limited by what we can observe and measure. Although we have developed advanced technology to expand our perception, such as telescopes and microscopes, our ability is still restricted by the laws of physics and the limitations of our senses. For example, the human eye can only perceive a small swath of the electromagnetic spectrum. We cannot see infrared or ultraviolet radiation without special instruments. Similarly, our hearing range is limited to certain sound frequencies. These limitations suggest the possibility that there are energies, frequencies, or dimensions that we are simply not able to detect with current tools. If reality includes phenomena that operate outside of our perceptual or technological capacities, then we would be blind to vast parts of the universe. This recognition of our limitations has led many scientists to adopt a posture of humility in the face of the unknown. The physicist and mathematician Sir Isaac Newton expressed this idea brilliantly when what we know is a drop of water, what we ignore is the ocean. This phrase encapsulates the vastness of the unknown compared to what science has managed to uncover so far. Although our progress has been extraordinary, there is still much to explore, understand, and discover. This recognition of the limits of science does not devalue it, but enriches it, reminding us that it is only one of the ways to approach knowledge. It also leaves room for reflection on questions that go beyond the scope of scientific observation, such as the ultimate purpose of the universe, the meaning of life, or the existence of a creator. In this context, it is possible to see how science and spirituality can coexist. Science allows us to explore the how of the universe, while spirituality or philosophy seek to understand why. As we continue to move forward, these two forms of knowledge can complement each other to offer us a more complete and deeper view of the world and our existence. It is often believed that science and religion are in constant conflict, but this simplistic view does not reflect reality. One of the most persistent myths is that science belongs exclusively to the realm of atheism, as if scientific advances were incompatible with faith. But history and current data show us that this idea is far from true. Some of the most important scientists in history, not only were they believers, but they found in their faith a source of inspiration for their discoveries. Isaac Newton, considered one of the fathers of modern science, was deeply religious and saw the study of the laws of the universe as a way of understanding God's work. Gregor Mendel, the founder of genetics, was an Augustinian monk whose work in the monastery gave birth to one of the most fundamental branches of biology. Louis Pasteur, a pioneer in microbiology, firmly believed in a creator and expressed his faith on numerous occasions. Even today, the relationship between science and religion is more complex than it is usually portrayed. According to a study by the Pew Research Center, only 41% of scientists identify as atheists, while the rest declare themselves agnostic or have some type of religious belief. This means that most scientists do not see an insurmountable conflict between science and spirituality. In addition, numerous Nobel laureates throughout history have held religious beliefs, such as John Eccles in medicine, Arthur Shallow in physics, and many others. This panorama shows that science is not the exclusive domain of atheism, nor is religion a space for the rejection of scientific knowledge. Many scientists find in their faith a motivation to explore and better understand the universe, while others see in the advances of science a confirmation of how extraordinary and wonderful the world is. Militant atheism, which not only denies the existence of God but actively advocates eradicating religion, has gained visibility in recent years. But this position, which is presented as a defense of rationality and progress, often incurs conceptual errors and simplifications that deserve to be analyzed. One of the most common errors of militant atheism is the incorrect use of the theory of evolution to deny the existence of God. Although evolution explains how species change and develop over time, it does not address the ultimate origin of life or fundamental questions about the purpose or meaning of the universe. Moreover, this approach ignores that many religious positions have incorporated evolution into their beliefs. For example, the Catholic Church accepts evolution as compatible with faith in a creator. To them, evolution is simply the mechanism by which God directs the development of life. This shows that there is no intrinsic contradiction between faith and science, except when they are wrongly presented as polar opposites. Another point of criticism of militant atheism is its tendency to blame religion for most historical conflicts, while ignoring episodes of violence and oppression perpetrated in the name of atheism or anti-religious ideologies. For example, the regimes of the Soviet Union, China, and Cambodia in the 20th century adopted openly anti-religious policies, destroying places of worship, persecuting believers, and promoting compulsory atheism as part of their political agendas. In Cambodia, under the Khmer Rouge regime, religion was virtually eradicated and spiritual leaders were brutally persecuted. It is true that crimes committed in the name of atheism do not make atheism inherently violent, just as atrocities committed in the name of religion do not make faith harmful. Nonetheless, militant atheism lapses into hypocrisy when it uses history to attack religion while overlooking these dark episodes. Both religion and atheism can be used to justify positive or destructive actions, depending on how they are interpreted. Militant atheism, like any extremist stance, tends to simplify complex issues such as faith, science, and morality. The reality is that many believers accept scientific advances and at the same time find meaning in their spirituality, while not all atheists take a radically anti-religious stance. The key is to foster respectful dialogue that recognizes the diversity of perspectives rather than polarizing them. Ultimately, criticizing religion as the only source of conflict or ignoring the historical implications of militant atheism are reductive positions that do not contribute to mutual understanding. Recognizing the strengths and weaknesses of both perspectives can lead to a more harmonious coexistence and a deeper exploration of the great mysteries of existence. Throughout this analysis, we have explored how the principle of causality, which states that every effect has a cause, reinforces the idea of a transcendent origin for the universe. Creation itself speaks to us of an order one perfection that cannot be the result of chance. Science, with its discoveries about the big, the expansion of the universe and the laws that govern nature, points us to a starting point for everything that exists. This beginning, far from being a mere coincidence, requires a cause. According to the principle of causality, which states that every effect has a cause, this first cause cannot be part of the universe itself, but must be something outside of time and space. The Bible affirms from the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, Genesis 1. This message aligns perfectly with what science has given us. The universe had a beginning, and if it had a beginning, it had a creator. This first cause, which Christian theology identifies as God, not only created the universe, but sustains it in harmony with his divine will. The Apostle Paul wrote that his invisible things, his eternal power and deity are clearly visible from the creation of the world, being understood by means of the things made, Romans 1:20. This reminds us that while science may not be able to prove God empirically, scientific discoveries reflect the grandeur of his design. Creation itself is a testimony of his power, love, and wisdom. Ultimately, God's existence is not only consistent with the principle of causality, but gives meaning to the beauty and order of the universe. Science, far from contradicting the Christian faith, becomes a tool that allows us to be even more amazed at the work of the Creator. As believers, this invites us to reflect on the greatness of God and to seek a deeper relationship with Him, the author of all that is visible and invisible. The fundamental question that arises is what or who is the cause of all this? If we trace the chain of causes and effects, we arrive at a cause, an eternal being outside of time and space that initiated everything that exists. This reasoning, compatible with both philosophy and scientific advances, points to the possibility of a creator whose existence is consistent with logic and scientific observation. Although science cannot prove God empirically, its findings do not deny him either. On the contrary, they reinforce the probability that the universe is not the result of chance, but the result of intentional design. The existence of God is not only a philosophically sound idea, but also a hypothesis that, far from being incompatible, is perfectly consistent with the principles that guide our understanding of the cosmos. In short, both reason and science leave us room to reflect on the greatness and purpose of creation. And in that space, the existence of God is presented not only as possible, but also as a profoundly coherent explanation of the mystery of the universe. Thank you for joining us until the end. If you like this content, consider supporting the channel to reach more people. Now 2 recommendations specially selected for you will appear on the screen. I invite you to explore them and continue discovering more exciting topics. God bless you. Amen.